In today's After Dark episode of the podcast, I'm going to be sharing with you a few of the items I've been knitting on since the last time we've chatted. So grab your project, something cozy to drink, and let's get started. Hello, and welcome to episode 64 of the Wool Needles Hands Knitting Podcast. My name is Taylor, and I'm going to be your host. This is a podcast primarily about knitting, and today it's going to be a little bit of a shorter episode. It is after dark here where I live, and it has been a crazy day. Lots going on, and this is the first time I was able to sit down to record today, so it is a little bit of a different look right now because I just don't have any natural light coming in through my giant window over here, but we shall make do. It's nice, it's cozy, it's evening time, so we're doing a little bit of a podcast after dark episode. I have a few things to share with you, and they're only part of what I've been working on since we last spoke. I kind of fell down the gift giving and winter warmer rabbit hole, and I'll explain what I mean by that in a minute. So I have lots of little projects going on. I set my Felix aside for the last week because I'm so close to finishing it. I figured I have some time since that knit along, the Felix for fall knit along is going on until December. So I set that aside in lieu of some projects, like I said, that are more geared towards gift knitting or warming up my family for winter with little things like socks and mittens. Now, before I share with you what I have in my mug over there, because it's really nice and cozy, I want to cover a few admin things. Like I said, this last week has been crazy. One of my boys came down with a cold. Fortunately, it didn't amount to very much, but it did slow me down in terms of the Fiber for the People shop update that was originally scheduled for Saturday, last Saturday. It is going to be Wednesday of this week. So if you're interested in shopping the Fiber for the People shop update, it's going to be Wednesday at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. We are no longer in daylight time, 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So you can find all of the information for that in the description box below. There are links. You can head over to the shop site, Instagram, all of that. In addition to that, I want to let you all know that there is a new Wool Needles Hands website where I kind of update you on new episodes. There's a link to the merch website as well. There's an about page. There's a newsletter sign up, which is kind of a big part of why I have this website at this point. It's a nice landing page for all things Wool Needles Hands, but I do have a newsletter sign up, and I would love for you to head over there, sign up for the monthly Wool Needles Hands newsletter. It's my way of kind of keeping you up to date with things that are going on in my life creatively, some more like fun personal stuff that we have going on. It's going to be kind of like like a newsletter blog, if you will, for what I have going on in my creative life. So if you're interested in something like that, head over to the website. You can sign up for the newsletter there, and the first newsletter will be going out by the end of this month. All right, tonight I have something really cozy and warm and crisp. It is a black tea with cranberry and orange spice. Very relaxing. Like I said, it's dark outside, it's evening time. It's got black tea in it. It's got a little punch of caffeine just to get me through the rest of the evening because it's been a very hectic day. So I'm hoping that wherever you are, you have something cozy or refreshing in your cup, and it's just bringing you all of the good feels and good vibes. Now that we have that out of the way, I'm ready to jump right in. Okay, guys. Like I said, I've been bitten by the gift knitting bug, and not even just like gift knitting, but knitting little things to keep my husband warm as the weather is getting colder, and my kids, primarily my oldest son, since my littlest is not too interested in wearing anything that I knit right now. But I'm kind of in this knit the small functional things phase right now, and that's what I have going on. So this first project I want to share with you, I have not shared with you yet. This is going to be a gift for my sister-in-law. Now, my sister-in-law has had a very, I don't know what you call it, but she's just super into the royal family. And, you know, she loves learning about Queen Elizabeth II, who recently passed away. May she rest in peace. Also Princess Diana. She's just very into all things like the British royal family. I don't know. It's her thing. It's great. It's whatever. I love it. And as kind of I don't know if it's like a kitschy gift, but I happened to see a pattern for a washcloth that featured Queen Elizabeth II's face in like a pearl bump design on the washcloth. And it just stuck out as being like that perfect, cutesy, kitschy gift to make her for the holidays, because like I said, she's super into like all things British royal family. And so that's what I have here. So my first work in progress that I'm sharing with you today is some washcloths. Now, my plan for these and the actual pattern itself, the name of the pattern, Queen Elizabeth II cloth. a Knitwits Heaven original design. So this is by Knitwits Heaven, Queen Elizabeth II cloth. It is not a free pattern. It's a pay-for pattern. I'll link to it down below in the description box. It's just a really easy washcloth. And actually, when you look at the picture, I'll pop it up here, but you can kind of see, you can see Queen Elizabeth II's, face on there and bust, I guess. And it's super cute. It looks like relatively small, like a small little, almost like 5x5 washcloth. Well, I started knitting 2 of these. I'm knitting 2 at a time, which is a common theme for the works in progress that I have going on. But I decided I was going to try knitting 2 at a time because I want to give my sister-in-law a set of these in a really cool like color palette that she can use in her bathroom or her kitchen. And so I started knitting them, and they're very substantial. This is living in my Joy in the Stitches project bag. I don't typically share project bags, but this one is just so cute. Trisha Wattenberger is the maker behind Joy in the Stitches, and her bags are absolutely lovely. Okay, so these are my washcloths so far, so I'll show you one at a time. But look at how substantial this is. Let's just let this one, there. Look at this. That's pretty big. I would say that that's like 10 inches long. But yeah, super substantial so far. You can't really make too much out on the design. I'm gonna try and hold this up a little bit more effectively for you. Okay, so this is the other color I have so far. So it's this really pretty kind of rust. And it's really hard to make the design. Like, I can tell in the camera that it's just kind of difficult to see the design so far. Obviously, I don't have anything that's recognizable at the moment. But in person, it's much easier to see. But you can see that they're big. They're really substantial. So when I finish these, they'll be the kind of washcloths that you can fold really cute and wrap them and give them as a gift. And it'll look so nice and kind of luxurious. I'm hoping that she chooses to use them in the bathroom. I have, as like face washcloths, because that's what I would use them for. I'm knitting this with a really lovely 100% Pima cotton yarn that I've had in my stash. I can't for the life of me remember where I got it because I don't have the ball bands on here anymore, but it's a really lovely Pima cotton. So these are the first 2 colors I'm knitting with right now, but let me show you the palette that I chose, that I had on hand, because I had a few different options. I had a lot of this stuff, but I was able to pull out a really pretty palette to create the washcloths. So I think I must have maybe, like when I got this yarn, which was, I want to say 1.5 years, 2 years ago, I think I had a plan to do something similar. So it just kind of worked out that I had all of this, but how pretty is that? I'm going to do 1 washcloth in each color, and she'll have a cute little set of Queen Elizabeth II washcloths in this really lovely Pima cotton, and it's so soft. Like, I could imagine knitting like a blouse in this for the summer, which is not typically my thing to do, but it's so soft and lovely. So this is the color palette I'm going to be using for the washcloths. I have these 2 going right now, 2 at a time, which is great because I don't know if that means I'll get through it faster, but it just seems to make more sense this way. It's nice when I'm finished with one, I will also be finished with the second. So I'm really loving that. So those are my Queen Elizabeth II cloths, as the pattern describes them. And I'm loving that. If you guys need a really fun to knit gift, this is definitely it. It's really enjoyable to knit. The pattern comes with written instructions and a chart that shows you all the purl and knit, purl bumps and knits and everything. And when I saw the chart, I was thinking, oh yes, the chart, that's definitely how I'm gonna do this. And then I go to use the chart to knit the washcloth, and I'm looking at it, I'm like, no way, I can't keep track of which purl bump I'm on and the number and the whole thing. It's way easier to follow the written instructions, and it's been flying. So my recommendation is not worry too much about following the chart, unless of course it works for you, but the written instructions for me are where it's at, and that seems to be the ticket right now. Okay, next I want to share with you the fire pit mitts that I am knitting for myself. So in the last episode of the podcast, I was talking about how I needed a new pair of dog walking mittens, and I chose the fire pit mitts, which is a pattern by yours truly. If you're watching the podcast, already. Great fingerless mitten pattern. I'll link it down below. That's what I have going on right here. And I really wanted to share what I have going on so far, primarily because the fabric is so pretty with the yarn pairing that I have. So here are my mittens. So far, you guys, I'm doing them 2 at a time. So many of you in the comments on my sock drama episode of the podcast were like, why aren't you doing these 2 at a time? It'll save you so much stress. You'll know you'll do exactly the same thing on each and you don't have to worry about it. And also you don't have any second sock or mitten syndrome. And it's so true. I feel so satisfied doing this and seeing the progress on both of them. It's just, I'm loving it, especially mittens because you're not turning heels or anything like that. It just makes a ton of sense. So knitting these 2 at a time has been great. So really quick, the yarn that I'm using for this is a BFL Gotland blend that I had in my stash. It's undyed. The natural color is here. And I'm pairing that with a mohair silk colorway from Fiber for the People. This is called Evening. So the 2 of them together are like this. And the fabric is just so pretty. Look at that. How cool is that? It has like a newsprint look to it. It's really pretty. Now I don't have any natural light like from outside coming into the window, so what you're getting is all from artificial lighting, but that's pretty accurate what you're seeing right there. And it's so pretty. I cannot wait to have these finished. I'm going to slip it on just to give you a general idea. I still have a ways to go on the top of the mitt, but you can see kind of how it's gonna look. How cute, and just the perfect like fit. Not too snug, it has a little bit of a roll down there, super casual. Loving that. So those are my fire pit mitts for me. Knitting 2 at a time, which I'm really loving. Super satisfying knowing that they're both gonna be finished at the same time. Yeah, it's great. And I'm going to be able to really take advantage of those because it's getting cold in the morning when I take Pepper for a walk and I need something like that so I can still mess around, like if I have to make a phone call or something, but you know, fingerless mittens, that's the advantage, right? Your fingers are exposed. That is my fire pit mitts. If you need a fast fingerless mitt, you need to try the fire pit mitts, or if you need fast gifts, they're perfect. Okay, next is a knit that I make. So there's 2 in here. There's one for myself and one for my son. I'm gonna start with the one for myself. So last time on the last episode of the podcast, I had mentioned to you that I was interested in a lightweight knit hat. Something really basic, but just really lightweight, not something super chunky. Pardon me as I get my life together here because it's just a tangled mess of floofiness. Okay, really? Anything that can catch yarn catches yarn. All right, so I can't remember exactly what pattern I was thinking I was going to knit. The petite knit pattern, I had one in mind that I wanted to knit to match a hat that I had. I don't have it in here anymore, but a store-bought cashmere hat that I wear all the time. There was a pattern that I was going to knit to match that, but I decided against it and the North Sea hat by Petite Knit. So here is the North Sea, oh, bright, hello. Here we go. This is the North Sea hat by Petite Knit, and I was thinking that this was going to be the one that I was going to knit with the yarn pairing that I had, but I changed my mind because I found this other hat by Petite Knit, and the way that it looked on her as she's wearing it, I just thought that that was really going to match kind of like my aesthetic, my vibe, my hair, because, you know, when you have really short hair, you have to have the right style of beanie to really have it look good. And this is called the Baggy Hat, and it looks like this. Super cute. You can slouch it if you want, or you can give it that cone head look if you want. I really love it. I'll pop a proper picture up so you can see it. So she's using Sunday by Petite Knit mixed with a mohair. And she says that she's getting a worsted weight, but I think it has more to do with the fact that she happens to be knitting this on a larger needle and not necessarily because she's bulking up the yarn, because she's only knitting with a strand of fingering weight held together with one strand of mohair. So that the weight of that yarn would be a DK weight, but she's knitting this on a size 7 needle, and I think that's what's getting the worsted gauge. And I actually really love that. So I've started, and I really love the fabric that's creating. It's kind of open, not super dense, so it's going to be a real nice lightweight fabric, and it's working up a lot faster than like a typical fingering weight hat. But yeah, it's really cute. And the yarn that I'm using, I mentioned this on the last episode, is woolly mammoth fibers, hand-dyed or naturally hand-dyed naturally with natural dyes, if that made any sense. But this is it. This is woolly mammoth, and it's beautiful. I believe it's in Tea with Mum, the colorway Tea with Mum. It's just a really pretty kind of warm pink beige color, and I'm pairing it with this Fiber for the People Lucky Strike mohair in kind of a brown mauve color. It's so lovely. It's very neutral, very earthy, and I really, really love it. And it's just going to be your basic like rolled brim hat. And I don't have a lot to show here, but enough to show you the really pretty fabric, how kind of like slubby the texture of the yarn is in the fabric. You can see it's kind of bumpy and slubby, and I really like that. And I think that's because of the woolly mammoth yarn. If I get close, you can see that it kind of has like a slubby, bumpy, real kind of crafty look about it. I love that. So I think all of that kind of goes to making a real kind of fun, earthy fabric. Super pretty. So this is just going to be a basic beanie with a rolled brim. And I'm working away on this, but I have all these other little projects going, so my progress is slow, but we are here and we shall get through it. Okay, and then the next thing I have been working on, and I'm in the middle of what looks to be a round, so in order to show this to you, I'm going to back out of these 6 stitches. This is a really good indication of my week, and especially my day today. Like, I knit 6 stitches, and then I put this down. Like, I had to knit those 6, and then I had to set it down. Okay, this is the neighborhood hat. This is a pattern by me, yours truly, and I'm knitting this for Angus, my oldest son, and I'm knitting this in Fiber for the People yarn in the Sapphire colorway, which is going to be really dark and probably hard to make out here, and I apologize. The lighting is not the greatest when I have no sunshine to help me, but this is Sapphire. It's a very, very dark navy with bits of teal in there. It's beautiful. So 100% merino Aran weight yarn, and it's just a basic tight gauge 2x2 ribbed brim for about 1.5 inches, and then stockinette in a much more open gauge for the rest of the hat with a little bit of shaping right here after the brim. There's just a little bit of shaping with a couple increases, and then it opens the hat up a little bit for about 7.5 inches from the edge here, and then it gets closed off and cinched, and you have a really cute, not super slouchy, just enough of a bagginess in the back to give you some space, but a really pretty just basic beanie. And I'm really loving it. I've tried it on Angus a few times, and it's fitting him really nicely, and he likes the yarn. He actually picked this color out from my frog basket, and I frogged the previous project, which you can see here. This is frogged yarn because of this real nice like ramen soup thread of yarn. But yeah, it's working up fast. I will be done with this probably first out of all of these things here. And then once I'm done with this, I'm going to focus a lot more of my attention on my baggy hat, because I really would like to get that finished so I can have that when the weather gets really cold for myself. But that is my hat for Angus. And it's going to go back in here where I'm probably going to have to untangle a mess of yarn when I get done here tonight. All right, last but not least, this is a pair of socks I'm knitting for my husband. If you watched my 8 fast and affordable gift knits video, which was my last video, I shared with you the Family Knit Work Socks by Yarnspirations. It's a free pattern for a really cozy pair of worsted weight knit socks that you can knit for anybody in your family. It comes in a huge variety of sizes, and I'm knitting these for my husband. And I am knitting them, I only have one of the colors of yarn here, but I'm knitting this mostly in Fisherman's Wool by Lion Brand in the oatmeal colorway, but I'm also using Fiber for the People yarn in the leather colorway and the sable colorway. And you guys, if you're triggered by ends, I apologize, because this is just going to be out of control. And I don't have any, like, it's really bad. But here we go. So here's what I have so far for my husband's family knit work socks. This is just the top of the leg, and this is the only striping or color I'm gonna add to the sock. I was thinking I might add this leather color right here as the toe, but I'm not sure. I kind of think I'm just gonna have this be the only additional color, and the rest of the sock will be knit in this Lion Brand Fisherman's Wool oatmeal color. If you're not familiar with Lion Brand Fisherman's Wool, it's 100% virgin wool. It has a lot of really nice lanolin in it. Obviously, it's non-superwash, and it's very affordable. You can purchase this in big box craft stores. You can purchase it on, I think you can purchase it on Amazon. You can purchase it from the Lion Brand website, but it's really affordable yarn, and you get a lot of it. So you have plenty to work with. But that's what I have as my main color here. And yeah, the reason why this is happening here, and I'm kind of like embarrassed to show you, is because I'm knitting these 2 at a time, and I'm not super great at knitting socks 2 at a time yet. And so having the stripes and the different yarn and carrying all of the yarn and having all of that stuff going on down here is a little complicated. So it's almost easier for me to just cut the yarn and then just weave the ends in later. And that way I'm not getting things tangled up. I need it to be simple so that I know where my working yarn is, because when you're knitting socks 2 at a time, typically you're using 2 different balls of that same yarn, so that one sock is coming from one and the other sock is coming from the other, and you don't have a tangled mess, which you inevitably will have regardless. So I'm trying to avoid that as much as I can by just cutting the ends. And what does this look like? It kind of reminds me of, I don't know what that reminds me of. Like a jellyfish? Yeah, these are my like jellyfish little sock tops. But family knit work socks, yarnspirations, loving all of the potential in terms of the color stripes. I want to knit a pair for myself. I talked a little bit about that on that last episode of the midweek ramble. I love these. I think they're an excellent gift. I think that anybody, socks are one of those, in my opinion, you can't go wrong if you knit socks for somebody, because everybody will find an appreciation for hand knit socks. Beanies, I feel like hats, yeah, most of the time that's a win. Mittens, you never really know if a person's gonna be into wearing mittens, but socks, everybody wants to wear cozy socks. And these are super, super cozy socks. So if you need a really quick gift knit for somebody who's maybe a little bit more, you're just not sure if they're gonna want something hand knit, you can't go wrong with a pair of socks, and this is definitely what I would recommend for that. All right, guys, that's all I've been knitting on since last we spoke. I will have a lot more progress to share with you on the next episode of the podcast. But before I wrap things up, I wanted to say thank you to everybody who suggested that I check out the Woolly Thistle to find the Varda pattern by Rauma yarn. So on my 9 fingering weight sweaters that I would knit now video, which is a few back, one of the sweaters I shared with you that is a fingering weight design that I really want to knit is the Varda sweater. And this is a sweater by Rauma, which is a Norwegian yarn company. The pattern was always really difficult to find in print, and it was really difficult to find in print in English, to the point where it was just impossible until somebody suggested that I go to the Woolly Thistle because they had the pattern in print that I could order. And it wasn't just somebody, it was several of you guys. And I immediately went to the Woolly Thistle, ordered the pattern, and had it shipped to me. And if you watched my shorts or on Instagram, if you checked out my Instagram stories, you will see that it has arrived, and I'm so happy and so thankful. And I love this community so much. I love it. It just makes me feel so great. So thank you so much. So here it is. This is the print version of the Varda pattern, this sweater that you see on the front here. And it is also this one here. Gorgeous fingering weight colorwork sweater. I have been wanting this pattern in my library for so long, and now I have it. Thanks to all of you lovely viewers. So it's here. I have it. Thank you so much. It means so much to me that I'm able to seek help from you guys and receive it. It's the greatest. So thank you so much to everybody who suggested I check out the Woolly Thistle. Thank you so much for taking the time to sit and chat with me. If you enjoyed yourself or took anything away from this episode, please don't forget to give the video a thumbs up. It helps way more than you know. Definitely subscribe. I post new content twice a week on Sundays and on Wednesdays. I will see you guys this Wednesday for a special midweek ramble where I share with you my podcast setup and give you a little behind the scenes tour of this office space that I'm sitting in right now. And don't forget to sign up over on the Wool Needles Hands Hands website for the monthly newsletter. I'm excited to start rolling those out to you guys. They're going to be a lot of fun for me, and I'm hoping they're going to be a lot of fun for you. It's really cool to be able to share that with you guys. Until the next time we see each other, happy knitting, happy making, happy whatever it is that you're doing. Take care, be well, and I will see you soon. Bye!